All right, thank you very much. My name is Ngozi Osuchukwu. I'm a librarian and a lecturer at Nnamdi Azikiwe University at the Department of Library and Information Science. I'm very glad to be part of this summit, the first summit of AfLIA. My topic is Indigenous Knowledge Inclusion, bringing the youth on board through the classroom. Yes, this is about the youth. All the presenters have said so many beautiful things about open access and indigenous knowledge. But there is a group that is very important to be brought into all this, and these are the youth. Many of them are in the academic environment. So it is good that we bring them on board. There is this adage that our people say, "Onye muta nwa ya aka ya." What it means is that every parent prays that the child continues from where they stop and do it better. So if you don't bring them on board, how are they going to learn? How are they going to carry on with those things that were handed over to the parents onto them? How can they bring those things or pass them down to their own unborn children? So this is where the focus of this presentation goes. So I'm going to focus on the introduction, bringing the youth on board, working with the students, the discoveries, sustainable and open indigenous knowledge, then the conclusion. Okay, so indigenous knowledge, it is an accumulation of cultural wisdom, skills, practices, ideas, those things that our forefathers lived with, those things that worked for them, those knowledge they integrated in their everyday life that worked for them, which they passed on to their children, from their children to their children's children. These are knowledge that have been developed over the centuries. It is much more than local history. It is much more than moonlight tales. It is much more than just stories. This is life itself in the living generation and the people to come. This is, totality of what indigenous knowledge is all about. Now, we are saying that this knowledge includes the science of making and stopping rain. We have the technology of producing food, so many of our local food. There were technologies used then that are still relevant today if we apply them. There are also healing herbs, cultural identity, because each tribe is known for something. When you see a particular tribe, because of that knowledge, we know that this person is from this area, this person is from that tribe. We also talk about the weather and the environment, that is the climate change. There are culturally indigenous knowledge about them. The religion and worship, the local sciences, the oral histories that were never written, and some of them are still not written down today. We also have the storage and preservation, the governance, the social system, and all forms of cultural heritage. All these and many more, which I did not mention here, are under the indigenous knowledge. Now, every indigenous knowledge is deep-rooted with the understanding that it will be sustained, practiced, transferred, acknowledged, accepted, because this worked for people then. And it is believed that it will continue to guide us to keep on working and pass down from generation to generation. Then what is the reality with indigenous knowledge? Agreeably, no one envisaged that a generation might come one day and decide to wave those knowledge away. Nobody thought that a day would come when we start to think about how we are going to make this knowledge known, how we are going to sustain it just as it was intended ab initio. Nobody thought of that. The carefully packaged gifts from the roots are now struggling for relevance, not just on who uses it or who keeps it, but on who truly owns it, who assesses it, and who shares it. There is this joke in Nigeria from our side. The history has it that Mongo Park found the source of River Niger. And the joke is this. Now, who brought Mungo Park from when he entered Nigeria to that source? We are they not the local people? Who took him there? Who showed him and told him this is what you are looking for? But the history has it that it was Mungo Park who found it. So these are some of the problems we are having with indigenous knowledge. Why we said, let the youth come in. Let us bring them in. And being librarians in the classroom, we are using the classroom to bring these children in. This growing population is the bona fide members of the society, and they have the right to know about the local language, the local knowledge. It is no longer right to keep them away from it. No, it is better to bring them in, to be part of the subject, to be part of the group that generate this knowledge, to document this knowledge, to preserve it, and to make it open and share it, and perhaps to claim part ownership of it, depending on their own contribution to it. So they need to know. It implies that if the youths are not brought into indigenous knowledge, the ancestral knowledge can actually go into extinction. Just like someone mentioned earlier, yes, they need to know. What did we do with the students? There is this course we teach in the university, List 203. The title is Oral Tradition, Culture, Literature, and Library. So what do we do with this? We discuss, one, we made the students to go back during the holiday, to go back to their roots, to their communities, and find out what goes on there. To be part of the cultural heritage, the indigenous knowledge, to find out from their grandparents, their elders in the community, to choose any aspect of indigenous knowledge. It could be the production aspect, it could be the local language, it could be anything, but we made them to go and come back with something. Now, what did they do? They would go there, interview, be part of it, take photos, take videos, participate, and come back with this knowledge. When they come back, they will transcribe the knowledge, because usually the knowledge was given to them in the vernacular, in the local language. So what they did, whenever they came back, they will now translate the original language it came with. They will now put it into English. They will also document it, put them in audios, in videos, you know. They will burn them in CDs and DVDs. With this documentation now, we take all these activities, all these documentations to the public library. So we keep them there for them to work with. They have a cultural and indigenous knowledge section where we put all this knowledge, and people come over there to make use of that. Now, the discoveries. The students came back and they were very happy that they participated in this, because this is entirely new thing for them. They went to the field, they discovered things by themselves, some things they did not even think of. So they came back filled with surprises, filled with stories, filled with experiences. When they were presenting, they talked about what they saw, the masquerade, the goldsmithing, the production of local items, you know, so many things, the chieftaincy titles, the local sciences. They were so happy that they participated in this. But there were challenges. Remember, this is a classroom activity. Very big challenges. There were also limitations in generating and sharing IK and in making them open for everybody. Some of the challenges we noticed were, when they came back, some of the students were unable, you know, to transcribe, to translate, because many of them could not speak their local languages. Many of them could not write in their local language. They also could not read. So it became a challenge. Who will transcribe this for them? Who will translate for them? It became, you know, it became even an eye-opener for us, knowing that these youth, some of them cannot even speak their language. They cannot write it, but they can speak, you know, the Western language very well. It even embarrassed them when they were called to present. So it became another story for another day. Our local language, which has been described as going into extinction. We discovered this. Another challenge is non-participation in the cultural heritage because of some beliefs. Some of the youths believe that it is against their religion to be part of this. Some look at this indigenous knowledge as fetish. Some said their parents would not allow them to do that, to participate. And some disclose that they do not even travel home to their community. So how are they going to be part of this? Now, like I said, considering those challenges, it is important that we find strategies to make the youth to be part of this indigenous knowledge, open access, open sharing, and open everything. Just like the OCLC said, what is known must be shared. But these students cannot share, the youth cannot share, they cannot even generate, they cannot even make it open if they don't know it. So it's about time we bring them in. It's about time we bring them in and tell them about IK, that it is not fetish. It should not be against their religious belief. This is their root. There are very good aspects of indigenous knowledge that they should know of. Thus, these students, they grow up to be adults that will guide the younger ones one day about the way of life, the culture. If they don't know, they cannot do it. When we are no longer there and they do not know what will happen, those efforts of our forefathers, those knowledge that kept on going till now, those things will die away. And the truth of what the UNESCO said about our culture and languages going into extinction, that will now come into limelight. It will become a truth. So if they did not know it today, they cannot teach it tomorrow. It is important to encourage these students, the youth, on the awareness and importance of IK. A nation without history is void to go into extinction. Thus, the students and the growing population must be included when it comes to IT, when it comes to cultural knowledge. They need to know, we need to bring them. Let us not, let us stop saying that, no, today's world is about this, about that. No, they need to know, because if they don't know, all these things we are talking today, nobody will talk about it. In conclusion, it is acceptable and recognized that LIS is all encompassing and supports indigenous knowledge, open access, and free learning. This is the reason the students, the youth must come on board. Let us bring them on board. However we want to do it, it is good that they know. It's when they know that they will bring in their peers, they will now find the necessity to transfer it, to share it with others. Just like I mentioned earlier, OCLC always says this: what is known must be shared. But who knows and who openly shares are critical in reclaiming the indigenous knowledge that seems to struggle in the space of its birth with borrowed culture. Tatabubo, just like the Igbo people say, today is still early to do the right thing, to fix it right with our growing population. Thank you for listening. Thank you.